This
So,
conference will now be recorded.
thanks, Mike. Okay, so we'll open the Ashford Inland Wetland Watercourse Commission regularly scheduled meeting for Tuesday, July 6th, 2021.
Joe just
Uh,
joined us.
what's that?
Joe just joined us.
Okay. Okay. Item number 1 is seating for alternates. None. Item 2 is to review and approve the minutes of the June 1st, 2021 regularly scheduled meeting. Assuming everybody got a copy of that or took a look at it. Uh, does anybody have any questions or comments on the last meeting agenda, June 1st?
This is Peter. I will recommend that they be approved as presented.
Okay. Rick, you good with them?
Yep, I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Wait, don't go quite so fast.
Okay. Okay. So
Peter moved, and who seconded?
Rick Zulik.
Okay. Okay.
Good? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 3 is additions to the agenda. Joe, any additions?
Nope.
None?
None.
Okay. Item 4 is old business. IW 2104, 3 Floating Road. That's the pond construction. And just a quick update. We did get a wetland report from Rick Zulik. It was dated June 28th. And was there any other additional information provided, Joe?
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right. So right now, what we have is I'm just going through my thing here. Okay. So we have a concept plan, and we did have a site walk, and then we had a meeting. Now we're at the end of the regular time frame. We're at the 65th day. So this is a point where we can either we can do a number of things, but I want to just kind of go around the room for a minute and see what everybody thinks. So now, Rick, I know you're going to recuse
Yes,
yourself.
I'd like to make it official that I need to recuse myself. I did the wetland delineation. Have been,
Yep. So the problem we have at the moment is that we don't have Cheryl Chase on, and that means we don't have a quorum either. Or do we? No. So what I would suggest at this point is that we table it and move on to item number 5, and then we could come back to this. I'm assuming I did speak to Cheryl. She said she was going to be on. I talked to her today. So would anyone like to make a motion to table item 4 and then move up item 5? If that's
So
okay.
moved. I'll
Okay.
move
All right. And
Who
I'll
did
second
that?
it.
Excuse,
it. Gary.
you need to make it clear who's
Bonnie did.
who?
Bonnie did.
Gary. Yeah, Bonnie. Gary. Gary Lipster.
Bonnie?
Gary Lipstrew,
Okay.
and I seconded it, Lenny.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all those in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay. Good. All right. So now moving on to item 5,
Len?
which is yes.
It's Cheryl. It's Cheryl. I just want to let you know I made it on. Yeah, I'm on the phone.
Okay. So Cheryl, what we did was we just moved the agenda around. We're now taking up item number 5, the Lakeside Drive, and then we're going to come back to the floating road as soon as we get done with this one. So in this case, it's a new application. It's an addition to a residential home. Joe, you have an application. and you sent out copies to everybody. And who's here representing them? Is it Kristen? Okay. So, Valerie, could you just make a note that Kristen is here? She's representing the applicant. Joe, can you tell us what we have so far?
Well, we have a complete application, Lenny. Looking at the site plan, what they're looking to do is add an addition to the existing residence for a total of 3 bedrooms and a proposed garage. Obviously, about I'd say probably 50% or more of what they're doing is within your upland review area.
Yep.
There's a deck that's proposed on the front of the residence facing the lake. That's pretty much the basics of it.
Okay. So, did everybody get a copy of the application?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, so I'm looking at the drawing that Joe is describing, and okay, yeah, I got it. All right. So today I'm just going to go around the room. We have an application in front of us, and all we need to do at this point is just to accept the application. Sorry, I'm messing around with my computer here. So, Rick, do you have any questions or comments about it? Rick, any questions or comments on the
Not at the moment.
application?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Gary,
I
have
do
you seen the application?
I have.
Okay. And do you have any questions for the applicant at this point?
I do not.
Okay. Peter, how about you?
I say let's accept it tonight and then we'll work on it next month.
Okay. Cheryl, how are you? Have you seen the application too?
I have. I reviewed the application part and also the plan drawing. I don't have any questions at this point.
Okay. Does anyone feel that you need to do a site walk at this location before next month?
No.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Okay. Kristen, do you have any comments? Anything you'd like to add to the application or?
I do have a couple questions if that's okay.
Yep.
Just 2 things. Right now, literally we found out 5 or 10 days ago, the well that we thought was a dug well next to the house is actually a drilled well. And so I wrote a letter to the health department about maintaining our current well and to potentially use that, just keep it where it is in the basement, because it's actually a drilled well below ground. So it starts about 6 feet down below ground level. So I wrote a letter to the health department asking about the possibility of just keeping the existing well that we have, using the proposed well in the event there's a problem that arises, the proposed well site. And just the only issue that came up was that there was a variance that was placed on the existing well back, I think, in 2005, before I owned the home, to keep the well there because of its proximity to the septic, which is about 55 feet. I had the water tested, and the water is bacteria free, and there's never been an issue with the water. And I guess the only way I could potentially make that happen would be to change the house from a 3-bedroom and maintain it as it currently is, as a 2-bedroom. So that was one thing that I'm just bringing up as a possibility, which would be actually in some ways less invasive in terms of, I think, as the wetlands go. But I don't know about if that happens, if I would have to go through this process again, this application process. That's one question that I have. And then the second question I actually have is about potentially using some of the dirt from the excavation to do some leveling. And I spoke to my contractor about it, and I said, would there be any issues with wetlands? And he's had experience working on the lake before, and I think he said something about putting up a silt, some mesh or something like that to protect the lake. So he's well aware of that. So I wanted to find out if that's part of the application process as well, if while we're excavating, to be able to take some of the dirt to level out the areas on the lawn that are pretty uneven and hilly. So I just wanted to put that forward. I don't know if, like I said, this is the right place to do it, or if I should speak to someone individually about it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, to second question first, if you can, next month before next month, if you can maybe just show us roughly where you believe the fill might be best located and roughly about how much dirt you might be putting in there. I mean, if you're talking about just filling in a few low spots on your lawn, that's one thing. But if you're the contours seem to be fairly evenly spread out from the lake up to your house. So probably a lot of detail it may be missing. So we just need to know, where do you want to put the fill? I'm assuming it's between your house and the lake, and how much you think you might have to, how much you might be putting in. And then that is correct that we would most likely like to see some sort of a silt fence or some other kind of erosion control measures to be certain that once you put the fill in, before it actually gets stabilized the grass starts growing, that we don't get any erosion into the lake. So those would be our concerns, and I'll let others respond to that. So anybody else have any further feelings about that question?
Yeah, Lenny, I'd like to comment.
Go ahead.
I had no need for any sort of a site visit initially, but if she's going to be filling, then I'd like to better understand where the fill is going to occur, how much filling is going to occur, and probably personally would like to do a site walk. I'd like to take a peek. Yeah,
okay.
The plan is submitted. I have no problems with, but
right.
I do have some concerns about the filling.
Okay. Anybody else have the same sort of reaction?
Right. I mean, this is Cheryl. I would like to kind of know where it is first. I mean, if we're talking still outside the upland review area, then it hardly makes a difference. If it's within, then we probably need to know where it is. And I do say that there's already silt fence proposed, so it would have to be moved anyway. So we need a little bit more detail. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Peter, Gary, anybody?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, so Kristen, would it be possible to have whoever made that plan up give us an idea of where the fill is going to be placed? And I agree with Rick or Cheryl that if it's beyond the past the upland review area, then it's probably far enough away from the lake. But if you're going to place it between the lake and your house, then we'd probably like to see where it is and approximately how much you're going to put in there.
I in the chat area, I put in all my materials, supporting materials for wetlands. And if you look at the site plan, and if anyone can pull up the site plan, and you look at where the current septic is, and if you look, it's towards the road, Hillcrest Drive, right at the lowest area of where the septic is. There's a large drop between there, and then Hillcrest.
Right.
So this is actually fairly far from the house.
Yeah.
And it's more towards the roadside.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know if that makes things clear. I mean, you can see from the site plan where I think there's this erosion control device
Yes.
right through there.
Yep.
And it would be right behind the erosion control device and possibly over it. But what we would do is we would reinforce that area moving toward the lake to keep that in place. But the drop is fairly steep right between that area and the road.
Okay. So Rick, do you see the what she's talking about, Rick?
I do.
So do you feel you still need to do a site walk there, or it seems like it's behind the erosion control? I mean,
So I would like a better understanding, and I don't think I would need to do a site walk based on what you've told us.
Good. Okay. Cheryl, how now with that further explanation, where do you stand?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't really think I need to do a site walk, but I do. I still only kind of have a vague idea of what you're talking about. I mean, I can kind of see a couple of spots, but I'm not being able to tell you don't see anything more than I'm seeing. So I just wanted even a circle of where, you know what I mean? That's all. That's all I really need to know.
What I could do is provide you with a circle, and also if it would be useful, a little short video or a few pictures to send to the committee. How does that sound? I would take you outside now with my computer, but it's pouring outside. So would that be helpful, Cheryl?
Absolutely. I mean, I always think that photographs are good anyway, but I think that would help. And it would help me anyway because I'm in Alabama at the moment, so I can't really do a site walk. So,
Good. Okay. All right. So, Kristen, you understand what we're kind of looking for.
Yep.
Whatever you can supply us before next meeting would be greatly appreciated. And does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept the application?
This is Peter. I'll move to accept the application.
Okay. And second?
This is Rick. I'll second it.
Okay. So, Valerie, we got Peter and Rick. Good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you next month, Kristen.
So I think I'm free to sign off. And then just one other little thing I wanted to put in is that once my application's finished, I saw that you were looking for people for this committee. And I might be interested in doing that. And I think Joe is the person I should contact about that. Is that right?
Yeah, anyone. Well, Joe would be fine. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
And Kristen, one other thing. You did ask a question about the well.
Yeah.
So the placement of the well really doesn't affect us, whether it's where it is or where it's proposed. That's not a problem for us. Okay. All right.
It's a health department issue.
I look forward to hearing from you again.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So now we're going to move back to item 4, old business. We got the floating road pond construction. So we were just talking briefly about it, and right now we have a conceptual plan, and we now have a new wetland report dated June 28th by Rick. Did everybody get a copy of the wetland report?
Did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, Lenny.
Yes.
Who owns the big pond?
They own half of it.
Who and the other half?
The neighbor.
Oh,
I don't know their name, but yeah, they own half of the pond. And the proposed pond is going, on their property next to the part of the lake that they own.
You can drain water out of the other half of the pond too. Just his neighbor complain about that.
Well, we're going to ask Rick a few questions. So, Joe. So I think Joe said that there was no further information provided to us, and I mentioned to everybody that we're on the day 60 or 65. So, several things could possibly happen today. But Amy, Thank you for coming online. We're going to speak with Rick first. So Rick, can you just kind of walk us through your report, please?
Yes, for the record, Rick Zulik, I would like again to recuse myself in that I've been hired by the applicant to do a wetland assessment. And I did go out there and did a wetland delineation. It runs along the, the edge of the emergent wetlands. During the site walk, it was quite clear. I don't know if you have a copy of my sketch. It's a very not to scale type sketch. The wetland does go a bit to the south, up the hill along the edge of the access roadway. And the pond is presented or proposed completely within the wetland.
Okay.
It's an emergent wetland. It's very shallow there. I think at one time it probably was a pond in the area of the proposed pond. There's been a lot of sedimentation, vegetation filling, and things have changed certainly within the last 50 or 100 years. It's a level area. I can say that the concern about draining the pond I have no concerns about that. We have a water table in there that is what you see is what you get. It's not going to drain the pond, and it's a relatively small pond that they're proposing. So
Okay, and just looking through your conclusion, it looks like the application proposed the construction of a farm pond to complement the existing property post-retirement. The pond will be used for irrigation, water supply for goats, chickens, ducks, bees, and current and future pets. A conversion of the subject area from emergent vegetation to an impoundment will not have any significant adverse impact or significant reduction in the functions and values of the large ecosystem the proposed pond is part of. It's pretty plain to me. So let's just go around the room quickly. Cheryl, do you have any questions for Rick?
Not for Rick, no.
Okay. Gary, do you have any questions for Rick?
No, you just answered the one I did have.
Okay. And Peter?
No, everything's square now.
Okay. So Joe, as far as the wetland report is concerned, are you good with the report? You think it's got everything in there that we are necessary for us?
Yeah, I think he did a good job of documenting the wetland functions and values. Yes.
Okay. So he did mention that there was a sketch, but I did not get a sketch.
No, I didn't get that. Wasn't forwarded to me. All I got was the report.
Okay.
Here it is in front of your very face.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you, Rick. It's probably not big enough, but I mean, we were there. I understand it.
I mean, it's pretty clear what you saw and thought was
Yep.
wetland is wetland.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Amy, do you have any additional comments or questions for us at this point?
I was wondering what Cheryl's question was directed for.
Did she ask a question? She didn't ask any questions yet, I don't think.
No, I said I didn't have any questions for Rick.
For Rick.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to get to the rest of it, but so.
Okay.
So is that, so you have nothing else to add, Amy? Is that where we stand?
Okay. Well, Charlie's here also.
Okay. Hi, Charlie.
It's on my computer.
So Charlie, I don't know. Were you there for the discussion so far?
I have been. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And
all right. So so now, looking back at the notes that we had from the last meeting, I know that several of us, including myself, were looking for some kind of a plan, and maybe the plan is the one that Rick just showed us. I don't know, but I know that there were some comments about, how steep the slopes were going to be, and other questions like that. Cheryl, I think you can explain best as to. I still think we need some kind of a plan. Maybe it's Rick's plan with some enhancements. So Cheryl, I know you're not here and probably couldn't see that, but in your mind, what kind of features would you like to see on a plan?
Well,
Go.
so my guess is that I can't see anything because I'm on the phone, but I've seen a sample of Rick's plans before, and generally what I think they do is just they show where the wetlands flags are, and they're a sketch of what he's done. But what I would want to see is an actual survey such that the limits of the construction are surveyed onto a plan. In other words, it's done by a land surveyor or an engineer, either one. And I had numerous questions, which I don't have, unfortunately, with me. Some of which have been answered by Rick's report, but others of which are really belong on an erosion sedimentation control plan. And there were a lot of questions that that could be answered. That would all, I think, be answered by the submission of that plan. I personally don't have any any strong objections to the project as it stands, as it's described. But I do think that we need to have that plan in order to know what we're actually issuing a permit for. And just while we're on the subject, that the other question I had was the characterization of the purpose of the pond. It was written in Rick's report differently than what it was told to us. So that would be the other thing that I would want to have clarified. But that doesn't have to be on a plan. It's just that's just
Okay.
an answer to the question.
Thank you, Cheryl. So, Rick, as far as you're concerned, the purpose of the pond, as you've written it into your report after you've spoken to the owners of the property, that is the purpose, and that's
it is officially a farm pond. Okay. They want to. I think their concern was, and I can't speak for Amy and Charlie, but I think their concern was that they didn't really know if they were a legitimate farm, in that they're both still working full time at other jobs, but they will. And I explained to them that you don't have to be working full time on a farm for it to be a farm. If you're planning on doing it full time after you retire, it's a farm pond. And they said, well, they want to do goats, as I explained in the report. They currently have quite a bit of stock, but they definitely are looking for this as for irrigation and farm pond use.
Okay. So I'm fairly satisfied, Cheryl. I know they sort of skirted around it a little bit, but I do believe that they did speak to the fact that they were hoping to use it for some sort of farm purpose. The last meeting, but I've got Rick's report, and as far as the use is concerned, I don't have any reason at this point to to believe anything otherwise. So so let's go to your second point, and that was so we know where the pond is going to be, because when we did a site walk, they put up some flags and they had some measurements for us, and even told us how many square feet were within those flags. And Rick, as far as you're concerned, the map that you have incorporates roughly the location of where the pond is going to be ultimately put.
Yes, and it's not in the pond area, it's in the emergent wetland area, as we could see during our site walk.
Okay. Now, if they simply dig it out, there won't be any like slopes rising up and then going down towards the pond or anything like that, right? It's basically you're going to be taking soil out of there, getting
Yeah,
to the.
my understanding, and Charlie can speak to this, but my understanding is that he wants to excavate a hole in the ground for this pond to have groundwater incorporated into this impoundment so that it was it was cooler water and that his interest around the edges was simply to be able to get around and walk around the pond, not necessarily as such.
So the fill that's coming out of the pond area, some portion of it will be put around the edges.
Yeah, a very small amount, I think.
Very small amount, and then the rest of it is going to be put outside the review area.
Like 99% of it is going to be hauled
Okay.
into a stockpile area, which will be silt fenced or taken off site by truck.
Okay. So Carol, I want to continue to speak to your question because I think it's a good one. So if we know where the edges of the pond are roughly, we know where the wetlands are. We know that they're going to not simply, but they're going to excavate the material out, and 99% of it is going to be taken off site or brought someplace far away.
An upland area.
How deep is it going to be, Rick?
Charlie, can you speak?
I was going to do 12, but I'm going to do probably 14, or I'm going to get it deep so I got some nice water coming in.
12 to 14 feet.
Cool. Yeah, 12 to 14 feet.
So, Cheryl, in light of that information, do you still feel that we need, an engineered plan and a survey, or do you think we have enough information at this point to be able to, once if the pond is excavated, we'll have a good idea that it was actually put in the correct place at the depth that you're talking about, and that the majority, almost all of the fill would be taken away, except for a little bit of leveling, not very much. Is there more information that you feel like you need, Cheryl?
So again, and I'm sorry, but I do believe that you need a sediment and erosion control plan, in particular a water handling plan. I don't think that, and this is not a personal thing, but this is in general. I believe that knowing roughly where a project is going to be excavated is not good enough to issue a wetlands permit. And I had numerous questions about water handling in that I had submitted last month, and they were pretty lengthy. I don't have them in front of me now, and none of those questions have been answered by this. I mean, I appreciate that I have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen at the site, but there are some questions that I know have not been answered, and I don't think that issuing a permit based on a rough idea is a good thing for us to do. So that's just where I stand personally.
Okay. Well, okay. So, Amy, I do agree that we probably need some kind of an erosion sediment control plan, even though Rick might have put that on the plan that he just showed us. We don't have it in front of us, and because we don't have it in front of us, it's difficult for us to approve the application today. So we would first like to ask both of you if we could get a 1 month extension from you so that we don't go over our time limit. Would that be agreeable?
Yes, it would be. This is Charlie.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Okay, so during this time between now and next month, we'll try to find the specific questions that Cheryl had. I don't have them in front of me either, and we'll get them to you. In the meantime,
I think I'm pretty sure, Amy, you said you had them. You had
Yeah,
received
you
them.
emailed me a
Yeah.
bunch of your questions,
Yeah.
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Did
So I think
we?
they do
Did the
have
rest
them.
of us get those, or was? So I don't.
I sent it to everyone. Yeah, I sent it to
Okay.
Joe and asked him to post it, and I sent
Oh,
it, and it was sent to everyone,
okay.
I
All
believe.
right. I might have missed it, but Gary
Mm.
and Peter, do you have the questions that she had from last month?
I don't remember having them.
No.
No. Okay. All right. So just to sum it up, so we're going to have one more month. We got an extension from the applicant. We're going to be looking for an enhancement of Rick's plan, which would also include the a soil and erosion control measures in it, and we're going to be looking for uh, maybe some better way besides the stakes that we saw on the field walk. It might be that you have stakes and then you have offset stakes. So obviously, the stakes that you put in will probably be destroyed during the construction, but the offset stakes will always be there and we'll be able to replace the edges of where we think the pond is supposed to be located. Um, Rick, can you help them out as far as answering some more of those questions that Cheryl
Yeah.
had?
Yep, I'd like to reiterate the fact that this is a farm pond, which is a use of right, which has different criteria that maybe Joe can speak to. But I think as long as the Gronuses are comfortable with providing additional information, then I'll try to help them the best I can.
Okay. And Joe, we're not looking to go beyond our scope of serve work, so we're not trying to put an undue burden on the applicant, realizing that it is an as of right use. So maybe Joe, you and Rick could maybe talk during the next week or so and do the best we can to answer the questions and to have a system set up so that if the work does go forward, that it would be in a location that we can re-verify. And so other than that, Gary, do you have any further questions or comments?
I do not.
Peter, how about you?
I'm all set.
Okay. And Cheryl, did I sum it up enough, or did you want to add some more?
I think you did sum it up, except I do think we need to talk a little bit more about the use of right issue next month when we meet, because obviously that changes the fact of whether we're issuing a permit or whether we are going to vote on the fact that we agree that it indeed follows under that exemption. So I think we are going to need to have that discussion. It's a slightly different discussion. So,
Okay.
but of course, I'm not prepared to talk about it
Okay.
today, since
No,
today was when I first saw the
yeah,
thing.
I appreciate the fact that you even got on. I know you're on vacation, and I appreciate you being here. So, in anticipation of that conversation, Joe, if maybe you can, just review that portion of the wetland regulations, just concerning the as of right use, and what if anyway,
Yeah,
just
basically, Lenny, whether you guys are going to consider it an as of right or whether you're looking to review it as a permit, doesn't change the fact that it's a given activity, and I do concur with Cheryl that there does need to be a better plan, an accurate plan drawn up, because whether you're issuing a permit or whether you're gonna call this a permitted use as of right, there still needs to be something on record that we can hold them to, and also speak to the dewatering, like Cheryl was talking about, again, just because it's a permitted use as of right doesn't mean it's carte blanche and you do whatever you want, so, if they provide the proper information to you guys, you can make the call either way, and they can have a properly designed pond that's going to function and be as minimal impact as possible.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that the Gronuses will probably caucus a little bit with Rick Zulik, and Rick, you can kind of communicate with Joe, and we'll see what we can come up with for next month.
Yep, will do. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Very good. Thank you, Charlie.
All right. Thank you, guys. Okay. Let's move on to item number 6, agents report.
All I have, Lenny, is I did speak with 96 Knot Highway LLC.
Yeah.
And they told me that they are looking at beginning the work over there in most likely a couple of weeks. They're jockeying around with the contractors right now, trying to line things up. So I reiterated to them that they needed to call me prior to any construction so that I could take a look at E&S measures and all that. So
perfect.
That's where we're at.
Okay. Thank you. Item 7. So members' comments. So I got a couple of quick things. Number one is that apparently the town requires each commission to do their own applications to submitting finance requests to the first selectman, filling out the spreadsheets and all this kind of stuff. And apparently it hasn't been done for us since 2012. I was unaware of it. And so the last meeting that we had, the last conference, Cheryl went to, but I did not. I mean, I just got so frustrated with all the paperwork that I was not familiar with. And so thankfully, Cheryl, though, she's came through for us, and she volunteered to going forward to take care of that paperwork.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I want to just acknowledge, here that, you're willing to take on that added responsibility, and that I sincerely appreciate the help.
Sure, no problem.
And now, Cheryl, we don't have to do it tonight. I know you're on vacation and you're on the cell phone, but maybe next month you could probably just go over, information that you might have gathered from that last, conference. Share it with all of us. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. Yep.
Thank you. The next thing is that Cheryl and I put together, mostly Cheryl did, a little ad in the Ashford Reminder, which I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but it was just in the back pages there. We're just looking for for new members. Looks like we might have gotten one tonight. I don't know, but just wanted to. And I see another hand going up here too. So we'll talk to you in a second, Michael. So I just wanted to thank Cheryl for her work on that, and just acknowledge that that went in. And now we'll turn. So now, Michael, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us so.
Sure. Thank you, Lenny. I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you here. I did see the ad and talked with Joe last week about it. My name's Michael Dietz, and I know Cheryl. We interacted professionally here when she was EP. How are you, Cheryl?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I grew up here in Connecticut. I grew up in Bolton and have lived in Ashford for about 11 years. I grew up in a family that had a construction business and worked for them for a number of years, so I'm quite familiar with site plans and equipment work and that sort of thing. But then I also went to UConn and ended up getting a PhD in water resources. So I studied stormwater, hydrology, that sort of thing. So pretty good working knowledge of how water moves through a landscape, across the surface, through the soils, and I would say a reasonable knowledge of wetlands, although I wouldn't consider myself a wetlands expert. What I know about water movement and such, and plants and that sort of thing, I feel like I can make do and certainly learn some more from all of you.
Okay.
And so I now work at the university. I've worked there for 13 years or so, and teach in the Department of Natural Resources and the Environment, and work for the Department of Extension also, doing outreach and also some research as well. So I would love to be able to serve on the commission if you need the help.
Yeah.
And so I
Wonderful.
appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm very impressed with your life's work. We could certainly use you. Would it be possible for you just to send me an email expressing your interest in the Wetland Commission, and just a brief, probably basically just what you just said, about your experience, and the fact that you are a resident of Ashford and have been for 11 years.
Yep,
That would be great. And then once I get that, make sure your phone number and address and everything's on it. I'll give you a call, and then I guess the next step would be to speak with the first selectman and try to get on their next agenda. So, but it'll all start with you. You got to send me something in writing with an email signature. Okay.
Got it. No problem.
All right. And Michael, just for the heck of it, what is your? Did you give Joe your contact information?
Yes, Joe does have it.
Okay. Okay. So as long as we have somebody that has it. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Maybe
all right. Thank you very much.
Your email address, Lenny. Okay. Sorry.
Yep. You have something else?
Oh yeah, just your email address, Lenny. Sorry.
Oh, it's OLDTOWN159 at charter.net.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Any other member comments? None? All right. Then I'd like to.
When will we
Yep.
know if we're going live next month?
Well, there is I do have to speak with the selectmen. They're now talking to all the chairmen of the different committees, finding out whether or not what they feel like they want to do. Do they want to hold off, or do they want to have live? I know that our group, we want to go live.
I would definitely prefer
and I don't see anything in the foreseeable future that would be such a controversial matter that would require a room full of people. So I think, I can't see into the future, of course, but at least as of right now, unless someone has an objection, I'm just going to say that, our group would very much like to have live meetings at the town hall going forward. And
cool. And if the first selectmen don't vote between now and then with regard to the commission member, maybe it would be a great idea for both Michael and maybe this other person to at least attend and observe, even if they're not on the commission yet.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Yep, we've had that before. The guys came and they sat in the pews there. But
yeah.
Okay. Well, Michael, I appreciate it. I look forward to getting your email. We'll speak further, and I guess that's it. So, anybody else have anything?
Nope. This is Peter. I move we adjourn.
Okay. Second.
I'll second. Gary.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right.
Look forward
Thank
to
you,
it,
everybody.
Michael.
Thank you. Okay. Bye now.